blasphemy. This is madness.
Stop the insanity!
Are you ready?
You're absolutely out of your mind. I think it's absurd. I think it's an abomination. I think it's a disgrace. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding? You're a jackass. Embrace the madness.
Hello again, everybody, from the lovely Confines here at Connecticut School of Broadcasting in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. We are back in studio this week. Thank God for midterms is all I can say. With you.
You can say it.
Yes.
I'm sure your kids don't feel
No,
the same way.
they hate it tremendously, especially after I put their grades in today from their midterm yesterday. Not good. But
that's so horrible that you just threw that out there.
I'm sorry. I mean, do better. I mean, study. I don't know what to tell you. Anyway, we're going to get, you have two very special guests. First of all, you have the fake account, Saints-hating Jessica Town.
Oh, yeah.
And you have the, where did you think you thought I was, no. Sorry,
yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Not for the air, not for the air. And you have the fan club president of Team Bendel right here, Ben Simmons, Kendall Jenner.
Rob took this so out of proportion.
Rob Lange. And I know I pissed you off.
But
and it was just like this. You see all these buttons? You see all these buttons? It was just like, boom, I'm hitting buttons to piss off
here's
Jess.
my point. You weren't addressing the point that I was making.
I know
and
damn
that's
well
why
what
I was annoyed. I wasn't saying I had a problem with her being there. I was saying that she's still trying to hold firm on this non-committed relationship crap. And that's why I'm like, you're sitting at the game chatting up his mom. I was not. I'm all right
exactly
with it. We can deal with it. We're over it.
I knew exactly what you were doing.
Clearly, if he's happy, he's playing better. It's fine.
I knew exactly what you were talking about, but it was just a lot of fun. Once I realized I had
you,
it was just button. So anyway, welcome into another episode of The Madness. What episode are we at?
71.
71.
Yeah.
You came on at what, like episode 30?
It was like 39.
Yeah, we're nearing a year together here, Jess. We're nearing a year. Wow.
End of April. It was the draft party.
April. Yes, it was the draft party. You are correct.
That was the first one.
That was the one where you came as a guest.
Yeah, tested it out,
realized it worked, and went from there. So The Madness is always brought to you by ProSportsNotes.com, powered by WildfireRadio.com. Hear us on Fridays. I know you haven't been able to the last couple of weeks. This one will have audio. You can hear us Friday morning, 9 to 11 a.m., WildfireRadio.com. On YouTube, what is the channel? Are we Pro Sports Notes channel?
It's a Pro Sports Notes channel. So if you search Pro Sports Notes, it'll bring it up. Or if you search The Madness Podcast, it should come up. One of the episodes should pop up. Click on it. You can find the other ones from there.
And as always, you download us on iTunes, The Madness with Rob Lange. I say it every week. Yes, Jessica Town as well, but that is the way you have to search it for now. All right. If I could, I'd change it to The Madness with Jessica Town and would take my name completely off it. But
don't do that.
We're not going to go that route. So, Jess, I just feel like, it's so weird. Like every year when the Eagles season ends, I go, oh, my God, what are we going to talk about? And then
so many things
just keep coming out of left field. And here we are. 2 weeks now removed from the Eagles season ending.
Yeah.
On a Wednesday while we're recording this, and there's a ton to talk about with the Eagles.
Yep.
And an article that was written this week. And look, I know by now most people that are going to be listening to this have heard this thing beaten into the ground.
Yeah.
We don't have the opportunity to come on every day, so this is our one opportunity. So obviously,
we have to talk about it.
We have to spend a bulk of the show on it. We will give you this reward, though. Maybe we won't get into it right away. We'll let that be the second part of the show.
We'll talk about my article about it, too, to make it better and different.
There's another plug. And by the way, plugging Jessica Town, not only is she covering the Eagles for ProSportsNotes.com, but now there's Sixers articles, and there's going to be Phillies and other stuff.
And Flyers. And do you want to know another one that I found out about today?
What's that?
Wings.
You're going to write about the Wings.
I'll be on Wings as well.
Wow, look at you. See that? And now you can catch her there at WildfireRadio.com. I need to start writing again. I like writing. I miss it.
Fun.
I miss it. And I brought a couple things in that I wrote.
So it's Wildfire Radio Sports.
WildfireRadio.com
is where you find the articles.
I did writing at some point, Jess. I wrote covering high school sports, and there's a reason.
Those are hard copies. That's impressive. I like that.
There's a reason why these are here, though, today.
Yes.
And it's not to boost my self-confidence.
Maybe
it's actually
partly.
No, I think it's actually more to take me down a notch to prove somebody else's worth
My
out
camera
there.
blurry. Does it look blurry to you when I look at the camera?
No, it looks sideways. That's better. Oh, yeah, that's better. You are so concerned about you in that camera.
Well, yours looks a lot clearer over here than mine does.
Because I don't know.
I look blurry.
I'd say I'm photogenic, but the fact is I'm not, so I don't really know.
But I can't look at here and there at the same time, so I wondered if it changed when I was this. I don't know. Whatever. Continue. Sorry.
Okay, we'll continue, but we will get all into the Carson Wentz story that was posted on Monday by PhillyVoice.com. Writer Joe Santa Liquido, who
is as close as I
is a
can
contributor. He's also wrote for NJ.com and a couple other things, and we will talk about it all. Very easily, probably could have got him on, but I'm not in. I
don't want him.
I'm not in the market of giving him another voice, as I'm pretty sure that was part of why this article was written.
This guy has like 400 more followers on Twitter than I do.
Yeah. And he got them all within the last 3 days.
Maybe, but the number hasn't grown in the last 3 days because no one wants to see or hear what he has to say.
Right. So, but we'll talk about that from all the different avenues because there were some fans who went a little bit too far, and they need to be reprimanded as well.
Awful.
You know what I mean? Like there's just a line that you just don't cross, and people did. But, we also could talk about the Sixers. They're in 3 games now into the midst of this stretch. They got another game, although by the time you hear this, they will have played tonight, so there'll be 4 games in.
Yep.
As they play this, they have the Spurs at home tonight, I believe.
The Spurs at home tonight.
Okay, big win on Monday against the Rockets.
Huge
really
win on
played well.
Monday.
Brett Brown, tremendous defensive coaching. We'll throw that out there because I had to fight yet again after another loss for Brett Brown's case after they lose to Oklahoma City, and everybody said it's his fault.
How is it his fault? For
not doubling Paul George, but they don't take into consideration when they were tied, doubling the inbounder to get the lead in the first place.
They don't. No one wants to address that. It's either fire Brett Brown or silence. There's no in between, and I'm just so sick of it at this point because they're not giving Brett Brown any sort of credit for what the Sixers are doing and the fact that they are completely gelling and getting the chemistry down at probably the most important point of their season. Yeah. And that's something that I don't know if you looked at my first Sixers article, but what I talked about is, this stretch, and we've said this before, could really make or break their season. Not necessarily from it's not going to put them out of the playoffs by any means,
not
because there's teams in the East that are, under 500 that are going to end up making the playoffs. But for a sense of, them, being unified, being one team, really buying into what Brett Brown is teaching them, what Brett Brown is asking them to do, being a cohesive team, going into the All-Star break, playing well against really good basketball teams. It's really important to set them up for the final stretch and set them up going into playoffs because they're going to make the playoffs. They're going to be a playoff team, and it's going to be really important how they're able to play there. We saw how they played in the first series and how that differed from the second series last year, how they can advance further, and also going to be really important for the long-term plans of trying to sign Jimmy Butler. Because if they, go anything less than 500, and if they get beaten badly, so I can come to terms with the OKC loss because that was a good fought game. They played. I think they played well. Paul George is just having a crazy season. You can't. I mean, that shot that he hit was crazy. It was absolutely crazy. But
it's a great shot.
But they got down early, came back.
Got down twice in that game by double digits.
And they came back. It came down to the very last second. And I'll tell you what, if they go into overtime, they win that game. Yeah. If they go into overtime, they absolutely win that game. So well,
Russell Westbrook's out at that point.
Right.
And absolutely.
I can absolutely look at that and say, it's a loss, but I can take it.
Yeah, see, my coach's mentality doesn't allow me to have moral victories.
Sure.
But I understand what you're saying, and I came out of that game wildly entertained. said, hey, they're playing with the best. They're there with the best.
You put that in a 7-game series?
Yeah, maybe they win a couple of them. So all in all, I'm happy with what I see. And you are now, what's today, the 23rd? So you're 2 weeks away from the trade deadline, give or take a day or two.
When is the 7th?
I think it's the 7th.
Oh, it's the 7th because they're having the All-Star Game draft
ridiculous.
that night. That's a terrible
Great
decision.
planning on you, NBA. Great planning.
Terrible decision, but yes, February 7th.
And there's a lot of names getting thrown around out there. Not necessarily that the Sixers are going after, but Mike Conley's name is now in trade discussions.
Yep.
I don't know if they have enough, what it would take to get him. But still, there's a lot of names out there. I have one. I tweeted it out earlier today. I am huge on. I was huge on it in the summer, and I'm huge on it now that I think Wayne Ellington is that stretch guy off the bench, can defend. He's long, can shoot the three. He's the type of bench player you need to mix in there with, in my opinion, Corey Brewer.
Absolutely. 100%. Sold.
I would love to see them get another starter so that they can move Wilson Chandler to the bench because I think it would be a good piece off the bench.
Wilson Chandler's been playing really well.
But
again, I would rather see that off the bench than my starting four.
They need, in my opinion, they need two guys. They need the wing player, that 3-and-D type of guy, and they need a backup center. Because if I have to watch Mike Muscala come in.
Oh, my God.
Every time Joel goes out.
His block the other night was
crazy.
That's
great. He's shooting 27%.
It's not good.
From the three-point line. If he's not hitting threes, he's worthless to me. He's absolutely worthless to me.
Agree.
The whole bench is a bunch of guys that are supposed to be able to shoot, but none of them play defense.
No.
Not one. The bench's defense is horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific.
It's not good.
So
with the exception of T.J. McConnell.
T.J. McConnell's a pest. And Corey Brewer now.
I love T.J. McConnell. T.J. McConnell walking everywhere with James Harden is like one of the greatest things you'll see. He doesn't take his eyes off him, and he just walks this far away from him.
That Corey Brewer segment was so Lance Stevenson-esque.
You're right.
It was, and it's like you put out a tweet talking about Joel Embiid. I've always wanted a guy that I would hate if he was anywhere else but on my team. Right now, for the next 3 days at least,
Corey Brewer.
The Sixers have two of them.
Yeah.
Between Joel and Corey.
I put that out because it was after I watched him get into it with Russell Westbrook and then get into it with James Harden that I was just like, Joel is out here trying to have beef with every other big-name all-star in the NBA and the kind of people that won't play his game and laugh about it after, which is funny. Because Russell Westbrook, I mean, he's gotten into it with somebody the last, 4 games he's played because he's the kind of person who, obviously an amazing talent, future Hall of Famer.
Now, I used to love him.
You just don't love. He's
a baby.
He just seems like he doesn't want to have any kind of fun. Like he's out there to play basketball, but he doesn't have fun doing it.
Well,
it doesn't seem like he has.
It
like
makes a lot of
else,
sense why guys like Harden and Durant want it out.
Yeah, because everyone at some point, sometimes you just gotta have fun, and even when they're winning, he doesn't seem like he's having any kind of fun. Last night, the clip of him saying, I've got hops, you're in your home crowd. What are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't know. That just seemed... Joel Embiid, he's out there and he's talking a lot, but he's having fun.
He's awesome.
He's so great. And I can so see from any other perspective, a Rockets fan sitting watching that game the other night just being like, God, I hate that guy.
I thought the exact same thing as I'm watching.
And I wasn't... I never really thought about it as much until it was those 2 consecutive...
You know who I thought of? Because this was the guy that I always said this about. Jeremy Shockey was that guy for me.
You talked about that.
I hated everything about him, but always said, God, if he was an Eagle, I would freaking love his annex. I would love it.
I can see it.
All the
Another
trash
person
talk.
like that is Draymond Green. Everyone loves to hate
totally
Draymond
agree.
Green.
Draymond's the same guy.
And you can totally see it, but you put Draymond on your team, your city backs him 150%.
Yeah, until he tries to fight your star, and then you get mad at him.
Well, yeah, but they're winning again, so they're fine.
So they're fine now.
They're fine.
Did you see Steph?
I cried. Did you see Steph on with James Corden later the next night?
No.
He was like, so, Steph, you had a mishap. And Steph was just like, what had happened was, in my head, I was going to do this really awesome, 360 dunk that I'd never done before. But the Kings had played earlier, and they didn't quite get the floor and the ice all taken care of, and it was a wet spot.
Yes.
And,
yeah.
He goes, and they had someone else on with him. I forget who it was. And he was like, so then what's your excuse for airballing the three after? And Steph was like, I
got nothing on that one.
I don't know. And I thought it was hysterical.
It was funny. It was very funny.
Great.
Basketball is going to start becoming our big topic. We're not quite there yet. Maybe we were going to be.
We're about to be. Once the Super Bowl's done, we're there.
We were about to be. I really think that we were going in that direction.
Yeah,
and
I wanted to go in that direction.
All right.
Well, someone has ruined it for me.
Well, there is the conference championships where there's a lot to talk about, even though it's not the Eagles, Jess.
No, absolutely, but we would
talk
still
about that.
But we would still be more invested in basketball. And now,
yeah, and we will get there, and we will get the basketball. We will try and get you some great basketball guests as we go forward. Jess and I have a couple plans for Jess that we'll talk about off air to try and get us going forward, get us bigger, get us better, and we'll see what happens there.
What are we gonna be in here next week?
Here?
When does basketball season end for you? That's a better question.
March.
Are you serious? Oh my God.
Actually, so the first round of the playoffs will be February 25th.
Okay.
Which we could win.
Okay.
The second round of the playoffs will be February 27th, which if we won, I wouldn't come in just because I'd be celebrating.
Okay.
So look at the end of February as us getting back in here on a more regular basis.
Okay, that's fine. Just because I'm trying to figure out.
Just trying to plan a trip.
Guess that I have lined up that I can't give a set date.
We could bring him to the basement.
I know. But I have a couple that I'm trying to get lined up.
Could you imagine the couple, though, that we've been discussing about getting in studio if we just had a basement show with beer and pretzels?
That'd be funny. Will we put that? I would have to go to the vet chair.
Yes.
Because we'd have to put them on the comfy chair.
Oh, they would get the comfy chairs. I'd sit on the ground.
Okay, we'll put you on the ground.
I'll sit right the hell on the ground.
That's fine. We'll do that.
All right, so let's get into the conference championships because
Gladly.
they were both tremendous games.
Fantastic games. What a day of football.
Both going to overtime.
It's the Drake.
Never happened.
Drake's problem. It was Drake. It's Drake's
Did
fault.
Drake actually wear that shirt, or was that a fraudulent picture?
He posted it on his Instagram story and was like, for all of you that want to believe in the Drake curse, here we go now. And it's like, oh my God.
And they all went to overtime.
Both games went to overtime. How crazy is that? I thought it was funny.
Well, there is a Drake curse because he's a scumbag and he just roots for all the teams that are winning. So, except for Toronto, who's his hometown team, I'll give him.
Well, that's why they've never lost anything, or never won anything.
They've never won. Yes.
That's the point right there. But that's why it's funny because he literally puts the sweatshirts on and then they lose. It's hysterical.
It's fantastic. But unfortunately, people did have to win these games, and I want to talk about the NFC first because I had a revelation during the AFC one, and I think people are going to want to kill me. I think that I'm going to want to be murdered.
No, but let's talk about the NFC one because it made my heart so happy.
All right, well, before we start ripping fan bases and things of that nature.
I don't want to rip the fan base.
Oh, no, I do.
I want to rip. Oh, we can get into that, but I would like to rip the players first.
So the Rams and the Saints.
I would like to rip the franchise itself.
Okay. All right, you know what? Do you want the floor?
No, please go ahead.
No. Jess?
No, I want you to go, and I'll just...
Jess, I want to start with your ripping of the New Orleans Saints franchise. Jess, the floor is yours.
Okay, I'm just going to look right into the camera here. And I have some words. So, Rob and I had previously talked about how I felt about the Saints going into the locker room, playing dreams and nightmares, your ski masks, and all of those things that you felt so much more necessary than getting your own song, celebrating your own way with your own team and being happy. Let's talk about what the Eagles did last year with their own song, their own masks, their own team, worrying about themselves, being happy, and celebrating. Well, they went all the way to the goddamn Super Bowl, didn't they? And they won the goddamn Super Bowl. Well, then you get the Saints, who their coach feels the need to bring in a bunch of cash and the Lombardi Trophy to get them any sort of motivation to go into their games. And then they decide that they're going to pay more attention to trolling the Philadelphia Eagles instead of celebrating their win. They were so, and this is exactly, Chad Leclos. That's the swimmer's name that I couldn't think of 2 weeks ago. It's exactly what I said it was. The image of Michael Phelps swimming forward and Chad Leclos, who's this far behind him, looking over his shoulder, paying more attention to Michael Phelps than he is at the finish line. This is exactly what the Saints did. They had more attention that they were paying to beating the Eagles than winning their game. And they were so much more worried about that they didn't have enough to go around to pay attention to what they needed to get done. All you had to do was go out there and win a game. You lost on your home field by no fault of anyone other than yourselves. Don't blame the refs, because at the end of the day, it wasn't the refs that threw an interception in overtime. It was your quarterback, who my heart breaks for Drew Brees. I love Drew Brees, but the rest of your team, full of a bunch of scumbags. From your running backs to your head coach, a bunch of jackasses who don't deserve to play in the Super Bowl. You don't deserve to have a parade, and you're not going to get one. Congratulations on having to walk out of your home stadium with your head hanging down because you were too much of a jackass to worry about yourselves. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Oh, are you done?
Yes.
Am I back involved in the show now?
I didn't say you couldn't be involved. You're the one who put me there.
Okay, well.
I'm hot. I'm sweating now.
Well, here's the problem that I have with what you're saying. Okay.
Oh, God.
As I've said before, the ski mask thing was theirs, apparently. Just going to put that out there.
That's fine.
That's one. Number two, I don't have a problem with them singing the song.
I know you said that.
I really don't. Who the hell cares? Whatever. I will agree with you on this. They lost the game.
Yes.
Now, with that said, that is one of the single worst
horrible
non-calls I have seen in the history of the National Football League. I thought I had seen it all when it was not a clear recovery, when it was.
Yeah.
This actually trumps that for multiple reasons. One, the not a clear recovery was the beginning of a game, a lot of football to be played.
Sure.
At this point, you're talking about if he gives him the call that should have been made.
First and goal on the one.
First and goal. It wasn't on the one.
It was a four, like the four.
The Rams only had one timeout left, which means you're running the clock down to about 10 seconds and kicking the field goal, which means the game is over. The game is over. You're winning the Super Bowl barring a bad snap or some crazy thing from happening. So in that retrospect...
Going to the Super Bowl. They're not winning the Super Bowl.
Going to the Super Bowl.
They were not winning the Super Bowl.
They were winning the Super Bowl.
I don't know about that.
Going to the Super Bowl. Okay? You're going. You're in. It's over. You're there. Now, by not making that call, you give the Rams time. However, this is where the other side comes in. But I'm not going to blame the fans because in Philly, we would not be thinking this logically if this was the Eagles. We wouldn't.
No.
We didn't think this logically when a fumble happened at the beginning of a game. We thought it changed the whole thing. This literally changed the end of the game.
Sure, but you know what else did? The two missed face masks on the Saints that should have been called, and there were two delay of games that weren't called.
Okay.
Two of each.
Say the Rams,
two 15-yard
get
face masks, which was on Brandon Cooks, which would have put them on the one.
Okay, so say the Rams scored a touchdown there.
And there was another one on Jared Goff.
Say the Rams scored a touchdown there. You still correct that pass interference call and the Saints score a touchdown. They still win the game. Regardless of all that.
I'm so happy the Saints
Regardless of all that. Now, you had an opportunity to stop them. You didn't. You win the coin toss. You get the ball first. You didn't.
Your Hall of Fame quarterback.
Your Hall of Fame quarterback throws an errant throw while being hit rather than just taking the sack, and it's picked off. You still have an opportunity to stop them. You don't. So this, and I had this stuff for This Is Madness, but we could talk about it now. This Louisiana governor wanting to sue the league, this idea by this, what's it called, The Advocate, or there's this paper out there, a website.
It said they deserve a parade.
That we should throw a parade. So help me God.
Mardi Gras in a couple weeks, friends.
Yeah. So,
do that.
So help me God. If they attempt to throw this team a parade and the team accepts it,
they will become the biggest laughing stock event in NFL history.
They will make Minnesota look tough.
And that's saying something.
That would be the biggest disgrace.
That's real hard to do.
In the history of sports. Listen, I am someone who, after the Tanny Dragons got to the Little League World Series, but not even to the championship game, and got a parade, I thought that was ridiculous. I ripped on this show that.
A bunch of kids.
I don't care.
I know.
They didn't win anything.
We're making a point.
It's the pussification of America. I said it.
Oh, wow.
That's what that was. That was a, hey, you got there. And go ahead.
And they didn't even get there.
You want to do something in your little hometown at the recreational fields that you have? Go ahead. You didn't need a parade in the city. Ridiculous. You didn't even get to the championship game. You got to the semifinals. And the fact of the matter was, well, I'm not going to say that. That's too much. I'm not going to.
Yeah, don't go there. I don't know where you're going, but don't go there. I don't want to know.
No, well,
don't. I'm
not going to go there. I was getting a little too heated up, and I'm glad I caught myself.
Come back to the NFL.
I'm back to the NFL now. All right, now, with all of that said, the Los Angeles Rams did what they needed to do to get to the Super Bowl. And I'm going to get killed for this, and I'm going to continue to get killed for this. I know that I made a prediction at the beginning of the year that they took a step back this year. I know I said it. And obviously I was wrong because they're in the Super Bowl.
I think I said it too. We were wrong. It's fine.
They're in the Super Bowl.
It happens.
I still think they are a good team. I don't look at the Rams and see Super Bowl caliber.
I don't look at the Rams
anywhere.
and say they could give the Patriots a run for their money. I don't see it. And as much as it pains me, I'm going to cheer for the Rams because I don't want to see Tom Brady win another one. You're not, because here's the thing. It tears me a little bit because here's what I don't want to do. I don't want to see Jared Goff win one before Wentz does. I don't want to see that, and I don't want Sean McVay's smug little face holding the Lombardi Trophy.
Is it safe to say, and maybe it's because it's conference-based, but right now, here on January 23rd, I hate the Rams.
More than the Patriots? Are you going to say it?
More than New England.
No, because I can see it. I would be all right. Because here's the thing. Tom Brady is the best quarterback of all time.
He is ridiculous.
He's so good. As much as I hate his smug little face and the stupid outfit he wore to the AFC Championship game.
He posted one of the greatest Instagram videos in the history of Instagram.
You're right. As much as I hate his face,
I almost feel like that gave me so, like, you know me and Tom, right?
Yeah.
I haven't had the best feelings for Tom.
I don't think anyone in this
Poor
city
Tom.
has.
Okay, baby Tom. I might actually love him solely based
on that video.
And the face he's making, like, we ain't going nowhere. I'm like, you are the coolest guy ever right now.
Those words will never come out of my mouth because I still think he is a giant loser as a human. But as a football player,
now if he would have did it with a shirt with Giselle's face on it, totally would have been against it. But we'll just
throw it out the window.
We'll just throw that there.
But I mean, one of the things that I, try to do as a sports mind is, I can be objective when it comes to respecting another person who has serious talent. Like, I hate Tom Brady. And yes, my Philly fan bias will take over 95% of the time, but you are an absolute fool if you can't sit there and say Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time and maybe the greatest football player to ever walk planet Earth. And I mean, what he does it's unreal. It's fantastic. So I'd be okay with, like, of course Tom Brady's going to win another Super Bowl. Like, I could make my peace with that. I just don't want the extra pressure on Wentz. I don't want Sean McVay to be validated. I don't want all that. I'm going to cheer for the Rams before I cheer for the Patriots because I will never cheer for the Patriots. But I don't.
Number one for me, Sean McVay. I can't stand the guy.
No, I don't. I can't. I don't. He bothers me a lot.
And I always want to say Timothy McVay, which is definitely not the right guy.
No.
Timothy McVay was the Oklahoma City Bomber, I actually believe, but that's the only McVay I've ever known before Sean, but we're not going to make that mistake.
I've known other McVays, and they're quite opposite of that. So,
well, that's good. I'm glad you've known other ones. I don't know Timothy personally. I just knew his name from the news story.
Okay,
You were like
we're gonna,
3.
We're going to move on now.
Just because you were
we need to
3.
stop talking
You
about
were 3
this.
and didn't know. Sean McVay drives me nuts. His face, his smugness, everything about
the video of him like freaking out and then
Let's effing go?
No, like getting excited with his team and then pulling it together to go shake Sean Payton's hand is one of the funniest videos I've ever
I
seen.
still want to punch him in the face.
I saw it was something that was like when you're drunk at the bar and your wife walks in.
Yeah.
It made me laugh pretty hard.
Yes, I did see that.
It made me laugh.
Hate Ndamukong Suh.
Yes.
Hate Marcus Peters.
Sure.
Okay, so
I like Aaron
there's all
Donald,
that.
though.
Like Aaron Donald, love Todd Gurley. Jared Goff, I don't
have a problem with Goff.
but I don't want him winning before Wentz. I'm with you.
It's the Wentz thing, but I don't have a problem with Jared Goff.
My reasoning for not wanting the Rams to win is so much. I would even go as far to call it pettier than the reasons you've stated.
Oh, please elaborate.
My reasoning is I don't want the Rams in the same category as the Eagles as one of the few teams to take Tom Brady. The Giants did it twice, and I want it to be the Eagles, right? I know he's 5-3, or is he 5-4? This is their ninth Super Bowl.
This is their 9th Super Bowl.
Okay, I don't want the Rams in that category. I want to say the last team to beat Tom Brady and Bill Belichick and that dynasty in a Super Bowl was the Philadelphia Eagles, who had a shootout with them and beat them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want the Rams to have that on. I don't want McVay to be able to beat Belichick and go, oh, boy wonder, he did it. Boy wonder gets the win. I don't want any of that crap.
Yeah.
And I'm telling you, right now, as I sit here, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I don't know what it comes down to. I hate the Rams way more. Way more.
What do you mean you don't know what it comes down to? You literally just listed what it came down to.
Than the New England Patriots. Yeah, but hate them more than the New England? Come on.
But at the end of the day,
did I all of a sudden develop a respect for this team that's over trumping my hate?
You should have a respect for this team. As much as you want to hate them, everyone should have a respect for this team.
I was pulling so hard for the Saints because of my hatred for the Rams. The Rams have become this team, and the Eagles have owned them. But the Rams are this team, and maybe it's because it's the quarterback comparison and the coaching comparison.
It is. It's exactly what it is. It's exactly what it is.
And here's the other reason why I refuse to root for the Rams. Because from a fan base that is there year in and year out for their team, no matter what happens, it would be a disgrace for a fan base to get a Super Bowl when they can't even sell out the stadium and when they're sitting in a damn L.A. bar at the end of that game going, did we win? Are you kidding me? No, you don't get to have a Super Bowl because here's what will happen.
I cried so many times in the playoffs last year.
Here's what will happen. If they won and they had a parade, all of a sudden 3 million people are going to show up. They're not Rams fans.
Like
they're
LeBron?
They're looking for a day off because it's L.A.
Like LeBron?
He's a jerk. Yeah, Jackass will be there. Jackass will be there, no doubt about it.
Lifelong Cowboys fan will be there.
Yeah, Jackass.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, punk. I hope he's back on the floor when the Sixers beat the hell out of his team.
He's not going to be. He's not going to make it. He might not even play in the All-Star game.
Damn it. That's upsetting.
Yeah. A shame. What a shame. Someone else is going to have to get put in the All-Star team game in place of LeBron. Think about that.
It's going to be Goran Dragic or Donovan Mitchell.
It's not going to be Goran Dragic because Goran Dragic is in the East. Why is Goran Dragic getting All-Star votes? The man hasn't played in a month and a half.
Because Miami has no one to vote for outside of Dwayne.
So they shouldn't be allowed to vote.
Stop it. Well, you just said, sat here and said that, what did you say?
I don't have respect for Goran Dragic because he's not good enough. I told you last year I could have respect for Donovan Mitchell on the court.
Yeah, you haven't done that either, though.
That's because he's had a garbage season. He has played like trash, and he is not in the top 10 of All-Star voting for his position.
God, you are a funny one.
Garbage. Garbage season.
Jess, I would not want to do this with anybody else. You are a gem.
I know.
Okay?
Thank you.
You are a gem.
That's because I have my opinions, and I stick to them, no matter what anybody says to me.
Yes, you do, Jess. I will not change your opinion. On to the AFC Championship game.
Woo. This one made me so sad.
What a game What a game.
Such a shame.
Mahomes is a beast.
He's so
Brady
good.
is a beast. The defenses just could not get a stop when they needed to.
Garbage. Did you see they might apparently hire Steve Spagnuolo?
Wow, that's Andy's guy.
Yeah. I met
Stevie
him
Spags
in, we were in Italy one year. No, like
why do you go to other countries and meet people?
Years ago.
Years ago, she was in Italy.
And we were like walking to get on a boat to like go to some excursion.
And there's Stevie Spags?
Steve Spagnuolo is just chilling right in front of us. And we're like, hey.
Stevie Spags is a good coordinator. It's just, man, as you see the Patriots win the coin toss.
You're like, well.
My initial thought is Andy Reid is 1-5 in conference title games, 1-3 at home. And I think back to all the ones we had. The Rams one, look, first year, I never blamed him for the Rams one. Then you get the Bucs, and that whole disaster happens. And then the Panthers was just...
The Panthers hurt.
Hard. Panthers just pissed me off. It was such a bad game.
Those are the times that I was like allowed to stay up late. I always stayed up late to watch the games. I was always allowed.
I was 21.
Okay, well, I wasn't.
Not yet.
But I was allowed. So I remember sitting on the couch, in my little jammies, and just being sad.
In my little
jammies, little jams.
I have nothing left after that comment. In my little jams. Jess and her jams next week on the Madness. No. We are out of control. But no, and I think, then they win the Atlanta one, and then that Arizona one was just excruciating because they were down by a lot, come back, 4th and 1.
It was so bad. It hurt.
Who was the running back? He was their third down scat back.
Are you asking me, or do you genuinely not remember?
I generally don't remember. Oh, my God. It's going to drive me nuts. You have to look this up.
I'm going to look it up.
They have a 4th and 1, and they stop him in the middle, and he just goes to the outside and gets like 10. And then Kevin Curtis falls down. Oh, man. It's been a tough road for Andy in these conference championship games.
Yeah, it's not gone well.
And I felt terrible for him.
Oh, my God, my heart broke.
I was
so
sick
sad.
for Andy. He had that same face he had at the end of every other one of those losses that he had here. Glenn Macnow earlier that day on the radio said, I see about 9:30 tonight a befuddled look on Andy Reid's face. And it was a little bit later because it went to overtime. But the befuddled look was there.
It was there.
It was so there.
It was there. What a shame.
So I take it you were like all in, like wearing Chiefs red.
No, I was wearing my Eagles shirt, but virtually the same.
Virtually the same. I need to tell you my revelation that took place during this game.
Okay.
I did not have a very good weekend betting.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And I was going back and forth and going, all right, well, whoever you bet on, is going to be...
Was it Tim Hightower?
Yes! Timmy Hightower. Well done. Well done by you.
Gotcha.
Going back and forth. And then I ended up not betting the game. Okay. I ended up just taking prop bets as the game went on, like what's going to happen this drive. Didn't hit any of them, but still was taking some prop bets. So I said, just watch the game. Watch the game and enjoy it. Mm-hmm. And very early into the game, I catch myself as the Patriots score going, touchdown. It's just like, okay, whatever. Just a touchdown. And when the Chiefs are getting stopped, going, little nod. And I said to myself about the second quarter, actually really once I got into the second half, what are you doing? And I realized in that moment, I found myself with no explanation, no clear-cut reason why, not even a plan. Like, it was very subconscious. As I'm watching the game, I'm pulling for New England.
You psycho.
And it bothered me. It bothered me.
It's currently bothering me.
It bothered me. And I spent so much time thinking about it. And I came up with only two possible answers that probably are both play into it. One, amazement that this team was about to do it again.
Sure.
And admiration that with everything that's going on around this team this year, here they are going to the Super Bowl again. And B, what I said earlier about New England winning the Super Bowl. Or about the Rams not want. Why I didn't want the Rams to win the Super Bowl. Because I want to be the last team that gave Brady and Belichick and the evil empire that they are their loss in the playoffs. Maybe there's part of me that thinks this year will be it if they win, that kind of Brady just says, you know what, I know I can still play, but hey, I'm healthy. I want to go spend time with my kids. Belichick decides to retire. Maybe there's just this idea that this is it. Win or lose, this is it. And I want to be the last team to beat them. But there is a respect factor that I've never had for this team that I got watching them this year.
I've always respected them.
I never did.
I know you didn't. Well, that just shows that clearly I'm more mature than you are.
I can't even argue that.
Yeah. I've always respected them, but I totally see what you're saying. I did not find myself doing that. I just found myself sitting there shaking my head at just how good they are. I was pulling for the Chiefs the entire time. I was only cheering for the Chiefs. I was not sitting there yelling touchdown when the...
Jess, I'm telling you, it was so just involuntary.
That's fine, but I found myself just sitting there just like... Because I was like, I need to just... Because I knew the game was just going to go... Not that I knew it was going to go into overtime, but it was going to be long. So I went up, took a shower in between the games. Because washing my hair takes some time, and it's just a pain. So I was like, I'm just going to go do that now. I'll be back down. I come back down, and my dad goes, look at what just happened here. And I looked at the score, and it was 7-0. And I was like, just Brady being Brady. And he was like, the most textbook first drive you'll ever see
absolutely was.
In your life. And I was like, well, yeah, what else did you expect? Mm-hmm. I'm confused. Is there something else we were supposed to expect from that? But, I mean, just watching him, he's so good. He's so good. The command he has over that team, over the offensive line, the wider, everything. I mean, it's absolutely spectacular. But, I mean, it hurt me to watch Andy like that again. It brought back the most awful memories. Like, it brought back the biggest heartache. Ooh. Ooh.
She's getting all choked up, ladies and gentlemen.
God.
She's getting all choked up.
No, it just brought back like you sit there and you're like, I don't miss this feeling. I don't miss this one bit. I don't know. It was really unfortunate, and I felt for Patrick Mahomes. That kid's gonna be good over the next couple years. Patrick Mahomes, Carson Wentz, and Jared Goff are going to be forces to be reckoned with.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Could they be the next Brady, Manning, Breeze, Rodgers group? Mahomes, Goff, Wentz, and Mayfield might be a guy that's in there. And there's young quarterbacks in this league right now. I mean, look at the kid. I know that they didn't win a lot of games, but the kid out in Buffalo.
He's going to be good.
If they
can get some pieces around him, maybe an offensive line out there.
Yeah, I mean, and Andrew, we can't forget about Andrew Luck.
Luck's
still young.
There. Yeah, we'll throw him in
so
there.
Is this your next group?
And who knows if somebody comes out that's going to surprise you? Somebody comes out of the draft that might surprise us. Who knows?
Absolutely.
I mean, the
kid that's going back to Oregon, Herbert. I know that a lot of kids he decided to go back for another year, but he's a kid that I know a lot of high hopes on.
Yeah. So we'll see.
We will absolutely see. So before we move on, do we want to make a Super Bowl prediction today? Just in case schedules get crazy next week.
I mean, we can.
I think we both are picking the same here.
Yeah. We're going to go same picks again.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely the Patriots.
Yep.
And, someone brought this up. The Patriots are known to play in close Super Bowls. All their Super Bowls are going to be close. I don't think this one will be. I think they win by 17, like 31-17, or 31 to 14, something like that. Or it might even be higher scoring. I don't know. We'll see what Boy Wonder can do against Belichick when Belichick has 2 weeks.
Boy Wonder almost gave himself up when they didn't go for it on that 4th down.
Well, I mean,
if they would have lost that game, that's all anybody would have talked about.
How ironic was it that the game changed on a fake punt for the second straight week in New Orleans? They're down 13. Oh, and that's actually, you know what? I did want to bring that up.
Oh, boy.
New Orleans can also blame themselves for this. They had an opportunity to score 3 touchdowns earlier in that game. They scored 1.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
It should have been 21-0. At the worst, it should have been 17-0. Mm-hmm. If that's the case, nothing else matters. They're going to win the game. The game's over.
Right.
Game is done. Game, set, match. But you were only up 2 scores after 3 drives inside the 20-yard line. Can't happen.
No.
Can't happen. So only have yourself to blame, New Orleans. It was fun to watch the smug look on Sean Payton's face. But I feel for a guy like Drew Brees, because he's been incredible all year. He's been incredible his entire career, and for it to come down to that pass and him get hit like that,
it breaks my heart for Drew Brees, but for the rest of that team and coaching staff, screw you.
Yeah, you say that until Mark Ingram's in an Eagles uniform next year.
Hey, I'll absolutely welcome that, but until then, I enjoyed his post-game presser.
Oh, some things happening. Interesting.
Oh, what's happening?
No, nothing in sports.
Oh.
Yeah. Weird stuff in Salem, New Jersey. No, none of your concerned out there in Pensy.
Yeah, well.
You and your Pensy folk.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about my Pensy folk in This Is Madness.
Oh, that bad, huh?
No, good.
Oh.
It's a fun story.
But This Is Madness is not fun. Although I actually have a positive story for This Is Madness today.
So shut up.
Wow. Wow. This is The Madness, brought to you by ProSportsNotes.com, powered by WildfireRadio.com. Catch us Friday mornings, 9 to 11 a.m., WildfireRadio.com. On YouTube, search The Madness Podcast or Pro Sports Notes. And on iTunes, search The Madness with Rob Lange and subscribe. We are taking this thing to big heights, great heights in 2019. That is the goal.
Hell yeah.
That is the goal. How we're going to do that? Well,
we don't know.
We'll get there. But
working on it.
Please keep tuning in. Keep being a fan of the show. We appreciate each and every one of you loyal supporters. All of Jess's family, none of mine. That listen weekly to us on here. All right, Jess. Got to do it.
What?
Got to talk about it.
What?
Exclusive.
Oh, yeah.
Sources inside Eagles paint Carson Wentz as selfish, uncompromising, and playing favorites. The franchise quarterback complicated the offense, didn't want to run Foles stuff. Written by Philly Voice contributor Joseph Santalaquito. Where do you even begin with this?
Would you like me to begin, or would you like to begin?
I always love when you begin, because you bring this fire that just gets us all rolling.
Okay.
I'm going to turn my mic off.
No, don't do that. We're just going to go right through my article and my problems that I have, because it's my best form of notes. Okay. So, my biggest issue. So, the article suggests that the Eagles players have a universal love for Nick Foles, but do not feel the same way about Carson Wentz. They talk about how Carson Wentz bullies coaches into doing what he wants to do. And the article also says the anonymous sources in the form of players and coaches and people within the locker room describe Wentz as selfish, egotistical, and uncompromising, and saying that Wentz doesn't like to be questioned. He also talked about how several sources confirmed Wentz being very fiery, and the way that he was attacked verbally by a fellow respected teammate. It continues on to say that that Wentz caused friction within the offense, and there's also some weird comparison to Andrew Luck for literally no relevant reason. Continues on the plays favorites with Ertz narrative, even though Foles and Wentz, their targets towards Foles and Jeffrey were almost identical.
Towards Ertz and Jeffrey.
Yes.
Yes, you said Foles and Jeffrey.
That's my bad.
I was going to say that. The facts have disproved that statement.
That statement.
And notice how he only puts Wentz's usage and he doesn't throw Foles in there. Why? Because it doesn't fit the narrative. But that's besides the point. Go ahead.
So continuing on, here's where I start to have problems. It's been talked about and proven since then that all of the things in the article have already been talked about and addressed. Frank Reich came out last year, said Carson was stubborn. They got into arguments because Carson, has an idea of what he wants to do, and he fights for what he wants on the field. And he's competitive, but that's why they drafted him in the first place, because that's who he was. They knew that going in. That's why they drafted him here. With, there were a few other things in there. A bunch of different things. The way Wentz likes to run the offense, the way he uses Ertz as a safety blanket. All of these different things that this guy tried to exploit have already been talked about. The article starts by saying the information has been compiled over the last 2 months. Well, 2 months ago, the Eagles got absolutely embarrassed in New Orleans and then embarrassed in Dallas. I wouldn't, any workplace where things like that are happening, there's going to be some discontent. There's going to be some emotion, some raw emotion where you're blowing up a little bit in ways that maybe you don't wholeheartedly mean. So if this guy has been in there and that's what he's drawing from right after that, that's not necessarily something that you can kind of put a blanket over for Wentz. Also, it talks about how he doesn't take any ownership or responsibility for anything. And in fact, his press conference immediately after the game in New Orleans, he comes right out and says, we have to do a better job, and it starts with me. I have to make better plays. I have to make better throws. I have to be a better leader. We did not play our best today, and that starts with me, and I take responsibility for that. My biggest problem with this piece is, sure, if you want to put something out there and you want to push this narrative, that's fine. When you come out and you straight up insult and go for the name calling of somebody who has done nothing but positive things for this city and for this franchise, you are the ultimate jackass, and all of your credibility goes out the window. I don't think many people would have as much of a problem with this article if he didn't come in and say that Wentz's all shucks overgrown Opie from Mayberry routine plays well with the local and national media. Am I supposed to take this article seriously after that's the phrase you put in there? Seriously? Am I really supposed to give you any sort of credibility for that? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. This is the same jackass that insinuated that Deshaun Jackson was the problem in the locker room and it had nothing to do with Chip Kelly.
Yeah, he insinuated. I mean, and Elliott Shore-Parks obviously blew that up with everything else. But it's the same thing where we all bought into that.
Right.
And none of it turned out to be true, it looks like.
But here's the thing. He's the one who tried to say that, Chip Kelly wasn't a problem. It had nothing to do with Chip Kelly. And I don't know if you listened to, what he said yesterday on WIP, and he said, Carson should thank me. I'm the best thing that's happened to Carson this year because this should really piss him off and give him some motivation for next season. Screw you, first of all. Second of all, okay, here's one. I don't trust this guy because he has the same picture on Twitter as his profile picture and his header. His head is perfectly round. I don't trust this guy as far as I can throw him. And if you listen, they had Dave Spadaro on immediately after on the radio talking about this. He said there's absolutely no truth to this article. This guy kind of hangs around after trying to poke and prod for some information. He's not consistently there. He's not a consistent face in the locker room. He shows up every now and then and kind of hangs back trying to get the dirt.
I just want to put some interest in here. Okay?
Please.
All right. First and foremost, I am not here to say that nobody had something to say.
I'm sure there's some
I'm sure there's a couple people in there.
Absolutely.
Maybe that said something. Okay? Which is fine.
Especially given the timing of it.
Yeah. However, he's putting it out there that it was asking a question about Mike Groh that turned into this whole thing. I don't buy that. Maybe he phrased it that way. Maybe it was, is the problem with the offense Mike Groh or somebody else? He was looking for this information first. Therefore, automatically, it's a hit piece with a hidden agenda. Okay? Now, you may be saying, how the hell do you know? Rob.
Well.
You don't know this guy.
Well.
You've never met him. I want everyone to look at this. This is High School Sports Digest. There's a website in South Jersey called SouthJerseySportsDigest.com that for a couple years I wrote for. And just freelance. As I was teaching, just something to keep me involved with sports, get paid a couple extra bucks, go out, cover high school games. I'm not doing this to make you look at me and say, no. I was a very small-time writer. Okay, just like right now I'm a small-time, I was a small-time writer. Would go cover, I look at the schedule. Hey, I'm going to go cover this football game, this baseball game, whatever it might be. One of the games a couple years ago was Audubon Gateway. I'll never forget it because I go to the game, not really sure what to expect, and in comes another reporter covering the game for NJ.com, backwards hat. Nice enough guy, very full of himself, talks a lot about, like he knows just about everything.
Mm-hmm. I didn't get that at all.
Yeah, his name, by the way, was Joe Santalaquita. And he was a writer for NJ.com, okay, covering Audubon Gateway football, which if you're not familiar with South Jersey, we're not talking about, no offense, the programs are good programs, they're solid programs, but we're not like, the national media is not coming to cover Audubon and Gateway.
Right.
Okay? So, since then, the guy's made strides. He covers boxing, he covers professional sports, not as a beat writer, not on an everyday basis. But he's getting jobs there, and good for him. He's pushing forward. He's got a nice little career for himself.
Well.
But is he a name, right? And I'm not even saying Schefter. Like in Philly, the names you think of with the Eagles, at least me. Kemsky, Berman, Jeff McLean.
Yep.
Reuben Frank. No one really, and listen, you've listened to the guys, and they've all known him because he's been around and he's covered a lot of things. There's a South Jersey writer who covers a bunch of professional college. His name is Mark Narducci. Now, there's a name where if this was a Mark Narducci story, I've met the guy, super great guy. He's an unbelievable writer, has been doing it for 30-plus odd years. Okay? Joe Santalaquita, in my opinion, this is a cutthroat business. You don't make a lot of money, and it's very hard to make a name for yourself. Easiest way to do that is to find a story and be the guy who breaks it. So Joe finds this story, talks to one guy, whoever it might be. My apologies, although I haven't seen what he said. My apologies, I thought it was Wendell Smallwood, and there was no doubt in my mind. But apparently
he screenshotted Zach Ertz's tweet, posted it on his Instagram story with a bunch of 100 emojis.
Okay.
Just I'm counting those and retweets as support. In that situation, like Chris Maragos just threw a retweet, and so did Cravon LeBlanc. But
could Nelson Aguilar be the voice guy? He's got a non-guaranteed option,
especially after those two games. Maybe.
He wasn't playing. He wasn't getting a lot of catches. Whatever.
Maybe.
Doesn't matter. Okay. Half a dozen players and other sources around the team. Well, I don't know what sources around the team means. That could mean it's about anything. 6 players out of a 53-man locker room. Do you believe, and Ike Reese has now said this, and Trey Thomas has said this, do you believe that everyone loves everybody in a locker room every day?
No. Especially when you get blown out 48-7.
On top of that, covering a game with him multiple times, watching him cover games that I was either at scouting or coaching in, he seems like the hang behind that kind of guy. Now, in a high school realm, you're not trying to get dirt. You're not trying to,
if you are, you're the worst
tarnish these kids. I mean, that's just not what you're doing.
Right.
Okay. But look at some of this. If you look at some of the things he posts.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
The tweets that were dug up that have since been deleted.
But not only that, the picture with Malcolm Jenkins wearing the Ohio State hat after they beat Penn State. Here's a guy who is trying, and I don't blame him for trying to make a name for himself. I don't.
No.
But first of all, you broke rules of media etiquette when you don't call the Eagles and give them more time.
Apparently, yeah, more time is the thing there. He called him like the morning they were supposed to run the story.
That's the first issue. The second issue is you say you contacted his agent, never heard back. Well, you do not post this until you hear back. And how about you're in the locker room, you act like you're buddy-buddy with these guys. Why not approach Carson Wentz? Why not give the guy a chance to stand up for himself? And the players are defending him. That's great, especially the leaders have all come out, all that stuff. But when you hear guys that have been doing Sal Palantonio, Reuben Frank, who else has come out and made comments? I know people don't like him, but Howard Eskin is in that locker room every single day. Once again, I am not saying
Howard's pissed about this story.
Yeah, I am not saying that this person did not say these things to him, but he went looking for it, I believe.
And he went too far.
Which is a disgrace. And as you said, comments like of the all shucks Opie from Mayberry.
Come on.
Comments like that he's put everyone but he's Captain Carson that he's tweeted out.
They're the Philadelphia Carsons.
Well, no, that's from the source, but I want to know what grown adult said Philadelphia Carsons. Okay? He needs to realize it's the Philadelphia Eagles, not the Philadelphia Carsons. There seems to be a good chance he'll be his. Then he tries to. The subject interviewed for this story gave the impression that Wentz changed after his injury, with Foles more than likely gone next season and nothing but open space ahead to rehab and spend a full training camp. There seems to be a good chance. First, look, there's so much about it. That's why I printed it out. Here's the other. When he talks about, you had mentioned this quote, that it was over the past 2 months. This is what he says. More than a half a dozen players plus more than BS, other source close to the team, who all requested to remain anonymous, fearing repercussions giving Wentz's power within the organization. What is this, Watergate? Is this Trump? Is this the White House? I got to be anonymous because I fear repercussion? It's an NFL locker room, dude. It's an NFL locker room. And it's the most...
And it's not the Patriots locker room.
And it's the most open...
Tom Brady, sure.
Yeah, it's the most open NFL locker room. These guys share everything.
Yeah, and
it pisses me off. First of all, whoever the 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5, 6, whoever these players are gutless cowards.
Yes.
Okay? If Nelson Aguilar's included, guess what? You're a gutless coward. I've already made it very clear to you that I wanted to move on from him anyway.
Yep.
Even the suspicion that it's him is making me ever more so want to move on from him and bring Golden and keep Golden Tate at this point. I'm not going to lie to you. The only guy that if it was Alshon Jeffrey, if he said anything, but see, what he says is more than a half a dozen players we talked to. Here's what he starts getting the information. He goes to Alshon after that Josina thing comes out, right? Alshon, what do you think about Wentz, man? Has he changed? And at the time, Alshon went, yeah, man, it's just not the same. Bam, there's another player.
Right.
There's one of my half a dozen. There's so many ways to twist this. The moral integrity of this writer is gone, is obsolete, is not here in this article.
It doesn't exist.
Okay.
And that's something that I really try. Like, I've come to the realization that I do not want to be a reporter. I don't want to be that kind of person that hangs back, that, all the players, anytime they see him from now on, are going to tense up immediately and don't want to go anywhere near him. I have way too much respect and love in my heart for the players of all the Philly sports organizations and the staff and the organization as a whole. I'd much rather sit and do this, give my opinion, and, I enjoy writing those pieces more, giving my opinion of this article instead of writing that article itself. You know what I mean? And because I just think it's so easy this guy literally has like 400 more Twitter followers than I do. This is not a person that
He went looking for this.
Looking so far
and he adds
low.
in there.
Tension within the offense. 4 of the 5 offensive linemen came out and defended him. One of them went out of his way to text a radio station to defend him. The other one's not really doesn't have a Twitter.
Here's another
that we're missing.
Here's another quote from sources. Groh is a good coach who was bullied by Wentz. Well, let me tell you something. If you're allowing your players to bully you, you're not a good coach.
You're not a good coach. That's why Frank Reich was a good coach, because he said that they got into arguments. Wentz was stubborn, but at the end of the day, they won a damn Super Bowl. And they made it work, and the plays worked. This guy just clearly doesn't have a backbone enough to push back enough on Wentz to get what he needs to done.
And secondly, they say, oh, he didn't want to run Foles' stuff. Well, guess what? Foles didn't run Carson's stuff. They changed the
entire offense for him.
They changed the friggin' playbook. That wasn't selfish. That was a way to win. Okay, Wentz changed it. It didn't necessarily work. However, if you look at his numbers, he was playing, numbers-wise, lights out. Okay? He's gone out of his way to say that he's not Captain Clutch.
That's why they didn't just put his numbers in there.
Yeah.
Because his numbers, you compare them to Andrew Luck's numbers where, oh, wait, Frank Reich is the play-calling head coach?
Yes.
Yeah. That's who played 16 games?
Exactly.
Difference.
Exactly. And I just, it's just really frustrating when then he goes on every radio interview he can possibly get on.
Right.
And he tweets out. First of all, he initially says, thank you to so-and-so, Matt Mullins and Jimmy Kempski for producing. Then he comes out and says, by no means did Jimmy Kempski write any of this. Then what the hell did you drop his name for in the first place?
Because Jimmy was like, don't drag me down with this.
You're looking for credibility. And you have none on this issue. Okay? I'm not saying that there isn't places where people can jump from covering this stuff to covering professionals in a couple years span.
Sure.
But I've sat with the guy, I've talked with the guy, and he was a nice enough guy. I'm not trying to attack who he is. But
Imagine that.
But he was a guy who came off as a little, full of himself. And he is a guy that I can firmly believe just stalks the locker room looking for someone to give him some dirt. Because he's not invited in that locker room every day. And I can't necessarily say that I want to be like looking for a big story, but I'm not going to. I'm not saying it's a created story. I'm not saying that people didn't say these things. What I am saying is it is embellished.
Absolutely.
And it's a hit piece. And you could tell me I'm wrong, but this is a friggin' hit piece. And it's disgraceful because of the steps he did not take prior to releasing it.
And the way that he just, I really am struggling to get over the way that he personally attacked Carson. I think for a person who literally has done nothing to deserve that, I think this guy has a free food truck that roams around the city of Philadelphia that he personally goes out and works in sometimes. This guy who, has a charity softball game and 25 of his teammates show up to play in, and a bunch more were just there. JP still had a big brace on his knee, and he was there in the stands. Same with, I think, Jordan Hicks and Chris Maragos as well. Mm-hmm. They were all there on their crutches in the stands, signing autographs with fans, hanging out. They didn't have to be there. 25 players.
Right, and then somebody said, "Well, Nick Foles has." I think it was Cataldi. Nick Foles hasn't said anything. Why not?
Nick Foles isn't active on social media, literally ever.
And Nick Foles stays out of this stuff. Once the football season's over, he's with his family.
And guess what? Nick Foles was at that charity softball game.
Yes,
he was an abysmal softball player. He should stick with football. It was not good.
Well,
you know who else is a crappy softball player? Nelson Aguilar. Terrible. Bad. Wow. But anyway, they were there, and I think Nate Sudfeld. I think his
comments were great.
But I think they say a lot because he's right. Nobody other than Nick Foles spends as much time with Carson.
Right.
And it's very similar to the Jimmy Butler situation. The pushback on Brett Brown or whatever.
Did you hear him yesterday by any chance? Brett Brown, I'm going to read you that quote. He was on 97.5 this morning, actually.
Which one?
Saying, it's unfortunate that whole thing came out after Portland.
Because it wasn't true?
No. He didn't say it wasn't true.
Well, no, they said that they had a discussion, but they both said that it wasn't a confrontation. It was absolutely within the confines of the relationship that they had built.
Find this one,
you find that.
Here it is.
Okay.
And then we'll get back to this. But to me, that story from Portland was a non-story, and I'm glad it went away quickly. I think it was unfair to Jimmy. I'm the instigator in those meetings. It's good. That's how I like coaching and talking to people. I love coaching him. He wears his heart on his sleeve. Basically saying, I asked Jimmy to tell me what he didn't like and started it, right?
Right.
But, and I mean, you know, this was sources from ESPN. This was Woj
we had a bone to pick with Woj, remember?
Yeah.
We were upset with Woj. And let's also talk about that, I believe it was Serena Winters that asked Ben Simmons about, and Joel, and who did he ask? I think it might have been Joel. I think it was Joel about the relationship between him, Ben, and Jimmy. And he said, well, first we were friends. Now we're brothers. And we're going to figure this thing out. And I was like, done. Sold. Bye. End of discussion.
Yeah.
Done.
So, but back to this. The other thing is, you know, Ike Reese tweeted this out earlier. He goes, it was pretty funny. He said, I'm old enough to remember when Malcolm Jenkins told Jim Schwartz, you have to simplify the defense. Leadership or selfishness?
Lane Johnson to Doug Peterson about let's run the ball.
Yes. Okay, so I don't want to hear, you know, the people that defend it and say, well, it's his job to... No, it's not. He was in the locker room for the end-of-year meetings.
Yeah.
Not to find this story. Or he was in the locker room 2 months ago for whatever the hell the reason was. I don't know. But, I mean, listen... The fact that he was in studio with Cataldi yesterday.
No, he didn't go in studio.
Who? No, San Luquito was in studio.
He was in studio?
Oh yeah, you could tell by this. You could tell he was sitting right there.
I think he was gone. Oh no, he was gone before
he was
Eskin got it.
No, he was gone. So then they were like, "If you want to stay in here for Dave Spadaro," he's like, "No, I don't want to."
Oh, that's what it was. That's what it was.
Yeah, and he left before Spadaro came on.
Yeah, why?
Farzetta had him call into the morning show, and look, they have to bring, I guess, 30 offer out to a guy. I mean, that's what they do. They talk about this stuff.
Sure,
I get it. It just frustrates me that he was all over the place. And all these people are talking about him, and ESPN's talking about his article, and NFL Network, and
Al Morganti laid into him, though.
Al Morganti laid into him, but then he when he was like, "But it's a great story. I mean, you have to write it." That's where I disagree. Al did lay into him, and I love that part of it. It was fantastic. I was in the car for that. So yeah, I mean, listen, I think it fizzles. I don't think there's going to be any issue. And I think we go from there. You know what I mean? I think this team moves on and we get ready for the off season. And
I think I'm excited that Carson's supposed to be ready for OTAs and to have a full off season in. And I'd like to see the full off season. I like full off season Carson better than.
Well, I think Carson likes full off season Carson better.
So I'm excited for September. What can I say?
I'm excited for the offseason. I'd like to see what they do, what they add, what they subtract.
Yep, I'm excited for the draft because, they've got lots of picks and the Saints have none.
My God. Listen, if I ever am getting close to being on your bad side, let me know because you can hold a grudge better than anyone I know.
Yes, thank you.
And I'd rather not have a grudge held against me.
That's fair. I'll let you know if you're ever getting there.
Yeah. Okay, so we're in about the last 20 minutes or so. Maybe we should hit forward to This Is Madness.
We could do that.
I got a few things we can talk about, so. All right, go ahead.
So here's a fun story. So this morning, because we're in here at noon, I just worked from home today. I sat at Starbucks like 8:30, got there, sat, did some work, was working, about to start to kind of gather up my stuff. And I look up, and in walks John Marks to our neighborhood.
Did you speak with him?
Of course I spoke with him.
Oh.
So
did you tell him he was on the show?
He lives in Collegeville, which he said several times on air. And I'm like, I live in Collegeville. I wonder where this guy lives. And I walked over to him and I said, hi, sorry to bother you on your little morning coffee break. Mm-hmm. I said, my name's Jessica Town. He goes, oh, yeah, I was on your podcast. I said, yes, you were, John Marks. I said, yeah, you were on our show and you...
Did you say our or my?
I did, yes. But you weren't there, so he couldn't be like, you're Stop it. So I said, yeah, you were on our show, and he said, do you live around here? And I said, yeah, I live. And I told him right across from a certain park, and he goes, I live in the neighborhood right next to that. I said, yeah, my aunt lives in that neighborhood. And he was like, oh, I live on this street. I said, yes, I take your street to get to her house. And he was like, oh, that's so funny. And he was like, well, we only lived here for a short amount of time, though. Don't really know everybody in the neighborhood yet. And I was like, well, yeah. So we sort of just, chatted for a little bit. And he said, did you go to school around here? Did you go to Springford? And I said, no, I went to Springford through middle school, but then I went to Germantown Academy. And he said, oh, yeah, I just read a really great piece on the basketball coach that's retiring. And I said, oh, yeah, he was... I had him as a teacher when I was a senior. He coached Joe. He coached my brother for all 4 years of high school. And we sort of talked about that and, everything. But it was just funny that, I was just sitting minding my own business, having my coffee. And here comes John Marks. I was like, hello, how are you?
So when's he coming in studio?
I mean, we didn't really talk about that. He gave me some directions that would be helpful for us, though. Gave us some thoughts. I'll share after, but I really wanted to share that story on This Is Madness because I think it's hilarious. But I was just sitting there. That is
pretty funny.
And, I mean, that's the thing. Like, no one else in Starbucks, I don't think, realized. But I was like, that's John Marks. Absolutely.
And it's funny because I did mean to talk about John Marks today. It's very weird that you brought that up because I totally forgot. Because
we talked about this.
What?
The article.
Yeah, and he's been frustrating me because... He's got a little Carson haterism. A
little bit, but he's in the Team Foles thing. But he after the Saints game, he stepped right down.
Oh yeah, but like with this article, he's like, wow, like if you heard him talking about this article yesterday,
I have refused to listen to any talk radio about this article because I knew it was just going to make me mad.
On Monday, whenever the article Monday, like it was like
I couldn't listen to it because I knew that it was just going to make me angry.
Well, the only guys that didn't make me angry were Missinelli, Gargano, the guys that have been doing this for 30 some odd years because. They get it. Like, it's an NFL locker room. And, like, Missinelli basically said, do we not want a quarterback taking charge? I don't understand.
Do we want a yes man that's just going to be like, yeah.
But regardless.
But anyway, so, yeah, that's my first story.
That's a good one, though.
Yeah.
I want to stick with the positive moods.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm going to go to my first positive story here. I've spent a lot of this year ripping into the Monday Night Football announcing crew, ripping into certain guys on other crews and this and that.
I know exactly where this is going.
I'm not going to do that today.
I know.
Tony Romo was outrageously good calling that Patriots-Chiefs game. And the only reason I may watch the Super Bowl, the only reason, is because I want to listen to Tony Romo get that excited, and then I want every NFL coaching staff to hire him as a coordinator because he is amazing.
He's fantastic.
That was incredible.
He's so good, and he's everything I want in an announcer because he gets you excited.
And you can tell he's smiling the whole time.
Right, and you get here's the thing. I love listening to Merrill Reese because he gets me excited. He's constantly excited no matter what is happening.
That's why you love a Mark Zumoff.
See, I don't think he gets as excited all the time. He's not constantly as excited. At the ending of games, he's excited.
His mannerisms,
when
his isms
happen.
The Zumoff-isms are fantastic.
I don't think he's as excited as Tony Romo is. Like, I feel like Tony Romo is sitting like this. Like this the entire time. Like, literally on the edge of his chair, getting excited, freaking out. And just genuinely happy to be there. Like, Tony Romo gets me excited about every football game, no matter who's playing.
Did you hear Brett Brown said about Mark Zumoff when he got honored for 25 years? Mm-mm. He said, where's Mark at? Somebody's got to give him a trophy for having to go through that 10 damn win season.
He's awesome. Right.
It was awesome.
He's right.
I had Zumoff on this show last year.
Right.
And I started the show by saying, something along the lines of it has had to have been hard for you to be there for 82 games the last couple years and he said, not one bit. He goes, I am the most fortunate of fortunate people that I get to come to a stadium and watch basketball no matter what, night in and night. I mean, so grounded in the whole thing too. Like he's just, But
Tony's great.
But
Wait,
Tony was great.
Pause.
Yes.
Did you see this video of Malcolm talking about Carson?
No.
John Clark posted this video. It says, it's a quote. It says, any great player is going to know what he likes is going to be demanding. I'm the same way with our D coordinator. I can go say, no, I don't want to run this. I think him being assertive is what you want out of your quarterback. He's a leader. Oof. Boom. Mic drop.
Ike Reese just dropped something that...
About BG? I just saw it.
If they go to Spags, 4-man front, BG's going. He'll go to Kansas City.
He'll go to Kansas City.
Yep.
Which, I could stomach that. I hate to see him go, but I could stomach that. It's not like he's going to the freaking...
Yeah. Today is the 14th anniversary of the 2004 NFC Championship game.
Is it real?
Yeah.
My heart.
Let's see.
My heart.
Adam Schefter said the 97.5 this morning, just to go on what we're talking about as I'm looking at Twitter. With anonymous sources, it's always odd to me when it comes to assaulting someone's character. There's always someone who will talk poorly about someone in all work environments, which is what we were trying to say.
Yeah.
You can find that if you search hard enough, and he searched hard enough.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead. Go back to your This Is Madness.
Okay, so we're going to talk about the Saints fan that ended up actually being a Giants fan and what he said to me on Twitter yesterday. Oh yeah, he's not a Saints fan.
Man, that was so funny. That's how this is what I was alluding to, ladies and gentlemen,
earlier
when I brought in the show and I introduced Jess as the fake account having Saints fan bashing Jessica Town.
Yeah, absolutely ridiculous. And he ended up not even being a Saints fan. He's just a Giants fan who's had a lot of time on his hands since December. So I tweeted, first of all, he also called me a very mean name, which I didn't appreciate. That's not nice. Don't call anyone that. Rude. I don't like it. So I'm trying to find it. Which tweet? Oh, so I tweeted, Saints fans, and this is accurate. Please stop crying over a missed call when your team wasn't called for 2 delay of games and 2 face masks. Also, it's not the ref's fault. Breeze through a pick in overtime. Get over yourselves. You're lucky you were even that close. This...
You went a little hard there on that last part.
What? I was annoyed, okay? I'm really sick of all the whining and crying because they really are giving Minnesota a run for their money, and I've had enough. So this person says, listen, you insert insulting term here. You fake account. It was a PI on the play, kick the field goal. Goff only has 40 seconds left. Now, I'm fully aware, actually. I watched the game. I'm aware of these things. I'm aware it was PI. It absolutely was PI. In fact, even that defender said it was PI. I don't understand how that makes me a fake account. Like, I don't get it.
Just a mad person.
And so I quoted the tweet and said, uh-oh, I angered a Saints fan. And he responds and says, where is it? Not a Saints fan, but you're wrong. Take your fake account somewhere, you troll. So I click on it. He's a Giants fan. Like, what? I don't understand. Like, I genuinely don't get it. I don't get this Giants fan who had, I guess he really does just have too much free time on his hands. But I don't get why this is necessary. And so then I find, where is it? My response to that one. Oh, I said, after taking your suggestion extremely seriously, I think I'll just keep my real account where it is, but thank you for your concern. Come back soon. And he didn't answer, so that's probably for the better. But yeah, what about me makes me a fake account? I don't understand. One of my cousins was like,
I think that was just like he had nothing and he just went that route.
Like, one of my cousins was like, he responded, was like, really? A fake account? And one of Joe's friends from college was like, he said something like, yep, can confirm Jess is not real. And I was like, yeah, Joe's had a fake girlfriend for the last 5.5 years. And he goes, yeah, it's a real Manti Te'o situation we've got going on here. And I laughed really hard at that. But, like, what? Someone really said that I'm a fake account.
Yeah, that's why I said
I'm real. I'm here.
You're
Hi.
a real person.
I'm a real person.
At Run This Town 13 is your account.
Believe it or not, I know it's hard to believe. I am real. That's my story.
Just real quick. Obviously, things are popping up on Twitter with the show.
Love it.
I said to you the 2 things I wanted the Sixers to get were a wing player and a center. According to The Athletic, Philadelphia is looking for two things: a wing player that can shoot and a backup big man for Joel Embiid. Where they're going to go with this, people are thinking the Hawks are talking about Kent Bazemore and DeJuan Dedmon. Bazemore might not be a great fit, but both Dedmon and Prince would be strong additions. So there's guys out there. I would be stunned if they don't make a couple moves before the deadline, and then maybe fill out the roster with some buyout guys and things of that nature. So we will see. All right,
it'll be interesting to see.
I want to get to my next story. I have it written down here in the phone. It's going to be, this will stay in This Is Madness every week until it is resolved. Harper Machado watch is ridiculous. Why are we still waiting? My cousin came into my classroom today. He works with me, and he said, is somebody going to sign them? I said, I don't know. I said, it's ridiculous. I said, thank God we've had the Sixers to talk about this week, and maybe this Wentz article helped us to not think about it. What the hell, dude?
I'm trying.
They have to fix this. They have to fix baseball's free agency. This is a disgrace.
I'm trying to get an interview, scheduled a phone interview for an article with someone in the Phillies front office, and I plan on asking that question.
For an article? Mm-hmm. You should get them on here.
It'll be both. I'm going to start with the article.
Oh, I got you.
It's a family friend. Oh. So.
Yeah, we do have to talk about some things, man.
Yeah, we have some conversations to be had. But
conversations.
We're gonna So I would like one of them. Reese Hoskins and Aaron Nola. They've got a gut feeling we're gonna end up with one.
Is that what they said?
Yeah, yesterday they asked him, and Reese was like, "I don't have any inside information, but I have a gut feeling we're gonna end up with one."
All right, what else do you got? Anything?
I just want to talk about Cole Beasley for a second.
What did Cole Beasley? He's still relevant?
Oh my God, did you not see his tweet?
No, what did he say?
Oh my God, you didn't see his tweet?
I'm sorry, I have a lot going on.
Hold on.
I'll look it up. You talk, I'll look.
Okay, but he basically, if you haven't seen it, I assume that others haven't as well.
I'm an idiot though.
So someone tweeted torn between wanting Beasley to stay in Dallas and also wanting to see him make the money he deserves.
Oh, here it is.
And jump into a system that'll utilize his skills, hoping the Cowboys can make both happen. Cole Beasley quoted the tweet and said, utilization is more important than money. And someone responded and said, well, the OC is gone. And he goes, honestly, the front office pushes who they want to get the ball to. I haven't been a huge priority in that regard. Maybe that'll change, but I'm not sure. More balls come my way in 2-minute drill where nothing is planned. So can someone blow a story about that up, please, and leave the Eagles alone? Please. The Eagles won the Super Bowl last year, and, was their quarterback even alive the last time they won a Super Bowl?
Hey, Cole, I know we've had our issues in the past.
We've had our problems.
But you want to come be my slot receiver?
Utilization is more important than money?
What's up, Cole?
For you.
What's up, Cole?
But yeah, I was like, oh my God.
Wow, he went really, really hard.
Yeah, he just went right in.
And I love it because it's right at that scumbag.
Oh, 100%.
Jerry Jones.
Front office at Jerry Jones.
Who is
just
the biggest
Adam
scumbag in the world. Yes. Who I hate with a passion. That
was my last one.
That was your last one?
Yes.
The last one I had, you already debunked before the show. That Jimmy Butler was at the game, but I just felt like nobody was talking about the fact that he was on the bench, but I also thought he wasn't in the building.
He was in the building. Apparently, he was waiting for the
Are you sure? Room. Where did you hear this?
Someone tweeted it in response to...
Someone real or someone like Joe Sadler?
I don't remember, but I remember reading it and being like, okay, I'm calm now. And I think that's why it hasn't really blown up, because I think he was in the locker room sort of waiting for them. I think it said that he was going to be there getting treatment. And he was there, but he was not on the bench. And because I think it's a very minor sprain, and they just want him back as soon as possible.
I need to see this tweet because
I don't remember who tweeted it.
I don't believe you.
Okay, well, I don't know why you wouldn't believe me.
Just because I don't want you to be right, actually, is what it comes down to. Because that would mean that I'm wrong, and I don't like to be wrong. Let's see if anything comes up about Jimmy Butler.
I mean, something will come up about Jimmy Butler if you search Jimmy Butler, because
Jimmy Butler
is Jimmy Butler. But that's just me.
Okay, so somebody tweeted out, where's Jimmy Butler? Oh, that was back in 16 hours ago. Oh, someone tweeted the Timberwolves game, and there's no one there. And they said, where's Jimmy Butler? Paul George are often compared to... Nope, not seeing anything.
Okay, well, we're not going to sit here.
No, we're not going to do this.
Well, did you see the one tweet? This made me laugh really hard after this. It said, first Jimmy Butler was aggressively challenging Brett Brown. Now Carson Wentz is a pompous diva. We're about a week away from hearing Carter Hart makes the defenseman wash his dirty underwear by hand, and I died.
Yes. Here's one. Here's a guy that I respect his basketball knowledge. I respect him. He has made a great career for himself as one of the head guys over at WIP. But Spike Eskin's distaste for Jimmy Butler and want to trade him because he's all about the process and he can't just move on from it is starting to piss me off now. It's starting to absolutely piss me off. Just stop. It's getting old. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's nonsense. It's nonsense. And I said, I respect the guy, but come on, man. It's ridiculous. The process is over now. Now it's time to win. Jimmy Butler will help you win. Don't be ridiculous. I'll just throw that in there. You got nothing else, huh?
No, I'm good. I'm chilling.
All right. Good show. Back in the studio. We don't know where we are week to week, but we will make sure to let you know on Twitter. Follow us at Philly_Madness, at RunThisTown13. Not a fake account.
I'm real.
Not a fake account. She's a real-life human being, folks, who is here, and her name is Jessica Town. You could read her, ProSportsNotes.com. You could read her, WildfireRadioSports.com. Kicking ass all over the place. My partner. We will be back hopefully next week. If not, we will make an announcement. But we will be back here soon, bringing you the madness as we always do. Thank you so much for tuning in. ProSportsNotes.com, WildfireRadio.com, iTunes, YouTube. You know what to do. Embrace the madness, everyone. Have a great week.
Losing sight of all my dreams again.